In a small wooden cabin nestled deep in the remote mountains, Samuel Hayes, a retired literature professor at 62, lived in quiet solitude. The blizzard had raged for 3 straight days, burying the land under a thick, unforgiving blanket of snow. Inside, the fire crackled in the stone hearth, casting restless shadows that flickered across the old wooden walls, shifting like ghosts in the dim light. Samuel sat in his worn leather armchair by the window, a book resting in his hands, though he wasn't really reading. The weight of isolation pressed down on him, broken only by the occasional pop of burning logs. Then, a sound, faint, almost imperceptible. But there was something desperate about it. He frowned, setting the book aside, listening intently. There it was again, this time accompanied by a weak, muffled whimper. A chill crept down his spine. Who could possibly be out there in this storm? Rising from his chair, he felt his heart begin to pound. He didn't know what he would find beyond that door, but deep down he knew. Whatever it was, it would change everything. Samuel hesitated for only a moment before striding toward the door, his pulse quickening. The wind howled like a living thing, rattling the windows, clawing at the cabin as if demanding to be let in. He gripped the doorknob, his fingers trembling, not from the cold, but from the unease crawling up his spine. Through the frost-covered glass, he could make out a shadowy figure pressed against the wooden porch. He wiped the condensation away, and his breath caught in his throat. A German shepherd. Her body was hunched, ribs pressing through her thin coat, her fur matted with ice. But what made his stomach tighten was what lay beneath her. 2 tiny puppies, barely visible beneath her protective stance. Their frail bodies shivered violently, their breaths weak, their small forms nearly buried in the swirling snow. Samuel's grip on the door tightened. Bringing them inside meant inviting trouble. But as he locked eyes with the mother, seeing the sheer desperation in her gaze, raw, pleading, human, the decision was made for him. He threw the door open. The wind roared, icy needles stabbing his skin. The dog didn't move. She just stared, waiting, as if she had placed her last hope in him. "Come on, girl," Samuel murmured, his voice almost lost in the storm. "Let's get you home." The moment the door swung open, the wind surged inside, biting at Samuel's skin like icy needles. The German shepherd remained frozen in place, her body trembling, her eyes locked onto his, uncertain, fearful, but desperate. Her pups whimpered, their tiny bodies barely able to move in the frigid cold. "Come on, girl," Samuel urged, crouching down, his voice low and steady. He knew better than to rush her. She'd been through something that made her hesitate, even as the cold threatened to steal the last of her strength. She let out a soft whimper, glancing back at her pups. Then, finally, took a slow, cautious step forward. One pup stumbled, struggling to move. Without hesitation, she gently took it in her mouth and stepped inside, the second pup close behind. The moment Samuel shut the door, sealing out the storm, the mother collapsed onto the rug, her body quaking. Samuel grabbed a blanket and draped it over her, his heart pounding. Where had she come from? What had she endured? One thing was certain, this was only the beginning. Samuel watched as the mother curled protectively around her pups, her frail body rising and falling with each labored breath. He moved carefully, not wanting to startle her, and grabbed an old towel from the couch, placing it near them. She flinched at first, but didn't move away. That was progress. The pups, so small, so fragile, squirmed closer to their mother, their tiny whimpers barely audible. They were starving. Samuel's stomach twisted. He didn't have dog food, but he had to find something. Moving to the kitchen, he rummaged through his pantry, finally pulling out a can of chicken soup. It wasn't much, but it was warm. Setting the bowl near her, he stepped back. The mother lifted her head, sniffing cautiously. After a moment, she lapped at the broth, desperate but wary, her eyes flicking toward him between gulps. Samuel exhaled. She trusted him, just enough. As the fire crackled softly, he sat down, watching them. Where had she come from? Who had abandoned her? The questions churned in his mind, but one thing was clear. She had fought to survive, and now it was up to him to keep them safe. As the night stretched on, Samuel found himself unable to look away from the mother and her pups. She had finished the broth, her strength returning in the smallest of ways. Her eyes, once filled with fear, now flickered with exhaustion. But she didn't sleep, not yet. She remained curled around her pups, ears twitching at every creak of the old cabin, every gust of wind rattling the windows. She was still afraid. Samuel leaned back in his chair, rubbing his hands together. Someone had failed her. The thought gnawed at him. She hadn't wandered into the storm by accident. She had been running. From what? Or worse, from who? He glanced at the frost-covered window, unease settling in his gut. Had someone dumped her? Hurt her? Were they out there now? Samuel shook his head, pushing away the thought. Right now, all that mattered was keeping them warm, keeping them safe. But deep down, he knew, whoever had abandoned her might not be finished with her yet. The next morning, Samuel awoke to the soft whimpers of the pups and the dying embers of the fire. The storm had passed, leaving behind an eerie silence. He rubbed his eyes, his mind immediately shifting to his unexpected guess. The mother, still curled around her pups, lifted her head at his movement. Her amber eyes met his, still cautious but calmer. Samuel stretched, pushing himself up from the chair when something outside caught his eye. A shadow just beyond the tree line. His breath hitched. He stepped toward the window, heart pounding. Had someone followed her here? The figure was motionless, barely visible between the trees. Samuel's gut twisted. It wasn't just a random passerby. Whoever it was had been watching. The German shepherd suddenly tensed, a low growl rumbling in her throat. She saw it too. Samuel's grip tightened on the curtain. His peaceful, isolated life had been shattered the moment he let them in. And now, standing in the woods, something, or someone, was waiting. Samuel's pulse pounded in his ears. The shadowy figure remained at the edge of the woods, unmoving, watching. Too deliberate, too still. His gut told him this wasn't a lost hiker or some curious stranger. This was something else. The German shepherd let out another low, warning growl, her body tense, shielding her pups. Samuel stepped back from the window, jaw tightening. Who the hell was out there? And why? His first instinct was to grab his rifle. His second, just as strong, was to protect the dog and her pups. He turned to her, lowering himself to her level. "You know them, don't you?" he murmured. She didn't look at him. Her gaze stayed locked on the woods, muscles coiled like a loaded spring. Samuel exhaled, forcing himself to think. If they wanted the dog, why hadn't they come to the door? Why were they just watching? Then as suddenly as it appeared, the figure vanished into the trees. A chill ran through Samuel. This wasn't over, not by a long shot. Samuel stood frozen, his breath slow and controlled, but his mind raced. Whoever that was, they weren't just passing through. They had been watching, waiting, and now they were gone. But for how long? He turned back to the German shepherd, who was still staring at the woods, her body tense. He had seen fear before, but this wasn't just fear. It was recognition. She knew exactly who had been out there. Samuel grabbed his coat, shoving his feet into his boots. He needed answers. If someone was out there searching for her, He had to know why. Stepping onto the porch, the icy air burned his lungs, but he ignored it. His eyes swept over the snow-covered trees, searching. Nothing. Just a lingering unease curling in his gut. His grip tightened on the railing. If they came back, he'd be ready. No one was taking that dog from him, not after what she had survived. Samuel turned, stepping back inside. He locked the door behind him, bolted the deadbolt, and whispered, "You're safe now." I promise. Samuel sat in the dim glow of the fire, watching as the German shepherd finally allowed herself to rest. Her pups nuzzled close, their tiny bodies rising and falling with soft, steady breaths. She had fought through the storm, through fear, through pain, all for them. And now she had found safety. But as Samuel looked at her, he realized something. She wasn't the only one who had been lost. He had spent years alone, keeping the world at arm's length, convinced he didn't need anyone. Yet tonight, as he reached out and gently stroked her fur, he understood. Sometimes we don't rescue them. They rescue us. She leaned into his touch, a quiet sigh escaping her. For the first time in years, Samuel felt his heart stir with something long buried. Purpose, connection, hope. If this story touched your heart, help spread the message. Like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Together we can give more animals a second chance, because every life deserves love.